Welcome to Life Stories, where the truth hits harder than fiction. Today's story isn't about betrayal from a lover or a friend. It's about betrayal from the people who raised you. Imagine this. You've been quietly paying your parents' bills for years. Mortgage, groceries, everything. While your unemployed brother plays video games in the living room you grew up in. No thank you. No recognition. Just expectation. And one day, after years of bleeding for them, you walk away. No drama, no speech, just gone. 6 months later, they're calling, texting, begging. Not because they miss you, but because the money stopped. And that's when you discover the worst part. Even when you were helping, they were lying, pocketing the cash, letting the house slip toward foreclosure while smiling to your face. So what do? Subscribe to hear how it all unfolded and why sometimes walking away is the bravest thing you can do. Here I was, sprawled out on a secondhand couch in my Denver apartment, 6 months after I disappeared without a word. The place still smelled faintly like paint and ambition. My phone buzzed across the coffee table like it was possessed, jerking and thrashing like it wanted to leap into my hands and drag me back to the hell I'd escaped. Susan. Then Dennis. Then Logan. All lighting up the screen like some cursed slot machine that only hit on regret. If it wasn't so sad, it would have been funny. I didn't move. I sat there with my arms crossed, watching the phone vibrate until it nearly fell to the floor. I let it. I wanted to see if maybe, just maybe, it would shatter and take the noise with it. 6 months ago, I left Columbus without slamming a door or raising my voice. Just packed a duffel bag, some clothes, my laptop, my sanity, and walked out of the Carter household like it was any other Tuesday. There was no goodbye, no dramatic confrontation, just a quiet decision made after years of silent bleeding. And yet here they were, calling, texting, trying to reel me back in like nothing had happened, like I hadn't spent the better part of a decade propping up their delusions and finances. The phone buzzed again. I didn't pick it up because I didn't need to. The chaos on the screen? That was proof. Proof I'd finally broken free. They weren't calling because they missed me. They were calling because the safety net had vanished. And now they were falling. If you're reading this and wondering how a 29-year-old finance analyst ends up in a war with her own family, congratulations. You're asking the right question. And trust me, the answer's messy, heart-wrenching, a little unhinged, but it's real. Let's rewind. I'm Rachel Carter. No criminal record, no bad habits, no trail of chaos behind me. I was the good daughter, the dependable one. The kind who paid her way through college flipping burgers and studying under flickering fluorescent lights. I got my degree, landed a solid job, and moved out before I was legally required to. Meanwhile, my older brother Logan, he was chaos incarnate in a hoodie. Dropped out of college at 20 to find himself, bounced between jobs like he was allergic to employment, and by 31 had permanently merged with the living room couch. He called it figuring things out. My parents called it being patient. I called it what it was, freeloading. But Logan wasn't just tolerated, he was worshipped. My parents, Susan and Dennis, treated him like a misunderstood genius. Like one day he'd rise from that couch with a brilliant plan and a six-figure salary. Spoiler, he never did. And why would he? When you're rewarded for failure, why try? And me? I wasn't rewarded. I was expected to show up, to fix things, to quietly hold the family together without asking for thanks. When the bills got tight, I paid. When the fridge was empty, I filled it. When the mortgage fell behind, guess who stepped in? At first, I told myself it was temporary. A bridge, a few weeks until they got back on their feet. That was 5 years ago. The thing about quiet resentment is that it doesn't scream. It simmers. It bubbles under the surface while you smile through clenched teeth and nod at dinner conversations that feel like performances. I was bleeding financially and emotionally, and they didn't even notice. Or worse, they noticed and didn't care. I remember one day vividly. I came home after an 11-hour shift, still in my work blazer, and found Logan in my childhood room, playing video games, eating chips, my chips. When I asked him if he had a plan, he laughed and said, "Why? You've got it covered." That night, I stared at the ceiling until dawn. Something cracked open in me, something final. So when I left, it wasn't out of rage, it was clarity. Sharp, surgical clarity. I didn't want to fight. I wanted peace, my own space, my own money, my own damn oxygen. And for 6 beautiful months, I had it. Until this morning. Until the buzzing started again. Dad's text was simple. Why haven't you paid the mortgage this month? Not can we talk? Not are you okay? Not even a fake we miss you. Just a demand. Like I was still on the payroll. I stared at it for a long moment, the weight of it pressing down on me. Then I typed back, "Oh, I thought I wasn't welcome anymore," and hit send. That's when the dam broke. Calls, texts, notifications stacked like an avalanche. My phone turned into a siren. Panic leaked through every message. I didn't read them right away. I let them rot in the notification bar, untouched. I made coffee instead. Real slow. Because here's the thing about peace. Once you taste it, you stop apologizing for needing it. They thought I'd run back like I always did. But this time, I wasn't the one scrambling. Want to know what happened when I finally answered? Let's just say things got real. So tell me, have you ever walked away from someone who thought they owned you? And if your peace costs your past, is it still too much to pay? Stick around. The next part isn't just emotional, it's explosive. It was a Sunday. I remember that detail so clearly because I'd just finished a brutal 70-hour work week. Eyes dry from screens, shoulders aching from holding everything up, bank account bruised from yet another small family assist that had somehow turned into the electric bill, the water, and a grocery run I never agreed to. Still, like the obedient daughter I'd been programmed to be, I stopped by their house in Columbus. 3 bags of groceries in hand, a bottle of Tylenol in my purse, and the heavy silence of someone who knew exactly what she'd find. Logan on the couch, my parents pretending nothing was broken. What I didn't expect was the ambush. The moment I stepped through the front door, I could feel it in the air. Tense, measured, like something had been rehearsed. Mom, Susan, sat in the armchair like she was on the jury of a courtroom drama. Lips pressed into that thin line she wore whenever she thought she was being noble. Dad stood in the kitchen, arms crossed, but not in concern, in authority. And Logan reclined on the couch, phone in hand, like he hadn't moved an inch since the last time I saw him 6 months ago. "Rachel," Mom started, voice sharp, "we need to talk." I froze, groceries still in hand. "I haven't even set these down yet." Dad stepped in, tone cool. "We've been thinking. You make good money. It's time you contributed more." I blinked. "More?" "You're living on your own," Mom added, "buying new furniture, traveling. Meanwhile, we're struggling to keep the house." I set the bags down carefully, like placing evidence. "I've been paying the mortgage for 2 years. You call that nothing?" Logan scoffed without looking up. "Come on, Rach, it's just money." That's when I snapped my head toward him. "Oh, you mean the money you don't make? That money?" His head jerked back like I'd slapped him. "Don't talk to your brother like that." Mom's voice shot up an octave, her eyes flashing. "He's trying." "Trying what, Mom? Trying to beat the high score while the house burns down?" Dad's voice cut in, sharper. "Rachel, we're asking you to step up if you were a good daughter." And that's when it happened. Something inside me cracked. Not loud, not visible, but real. It felt like the final strand of rope holding me to this charade had finally snapped. I took a slow breath. "Let me get this straight. You want me to cover everything, while Logan keeps doing absolutely nothing, and I'm the bad guy if I question it?" Silence. "We just thought you'd want to help," Mom said quietly. "As family." I looked at Logan, then at my parents. "And what is he then? A houseplant?" Logan stood up, jaw tight. "I hate you." "I didn't ask for that," I said calmly, "but thanks." And then Mom said it. The sentence that cemented everything. "If you walk out that door, don't bother coming back." I smiled. Perfect. No big speech. No tears. Just a quiet click of the door behind me as I walked out. The air outside hit me like a blessing. Cool, honest. My shoulders felt lighter instantly, like I'd just set down a boulder I didn't realize I'd been carrying. I moved into my Denver apartment that week. Small, quiet, mine. And for 6 months, I was free. But you know what they say about silence? It never lasts. This morning, that silence cracked. Dad's text wasn't a question, it was a command. Why haven't you paid the mortgage this month? No context, no softness, just entitlement, gift wrapped in passive aggression. So I replied, "Oh, I thought I wasn't welcome anymore." And the floodgates opened. Calls, texts, Logan, mom, dad, desperation in stereo. But I didn't answer. Not right away. I needed to know just how deep this hole was. So I called the bank. "Hi, I used to handle my parents' mortgage payments. I just wanted to check the account status." The woman on the line clicked her keyboard, paused. "Ma'am," she said, "this account has been delinquent for almost 8 months. 8 months. I kept sending money. They stopped sending it to the bank. What had they been doing with it?" That question burned all the way through me. So I picked up the phone, called Logan, and you better believe that conversation was a firestorm. But I'll save that for next time. Tell me, if your family pocketed the money you sent to save their home, would you ever forgive them? Don't miss the next part, because what happens when lies finally catch fire is something you'll want to see burn. "Rachel, finally, you need to fix this." Logan's voice burst through the speaker like he'd just been waiting behind the curtain this whole time, ready to deliver his final act. I didn't even say hello. "Hey, quick question." I cut in, voice calm as glass. "Where did the money I sent go?" Pause. "The bank says the mortgage hasn't been paid in 8 months, Logan. Even when I was still sending money." More silence. Then a pathetic sputter. "I don't know what you're talking about." I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because I'd finally stopped caring. "Come on. You live there. You didn't notice the lights were still on while I was bleeding my paycheck dry?" "It's not that simple," he muttered. "Mom and Dad, they were going to use it. Things just got tight. You don't get it." "Oh, I do get it," I snapped. "I got it every time I transferred money while you sat there doing nothing. I got it every time they lied and cried and played the family card while pocketing my help. This time, I'm just not playing." He exhaled hard. "You're being cruel." I smiled bitter. "No, I'm letting you all feel the consequences for once." Then, Mom called. She didn't even wait for me to say anything. "How dare you, Rachel? You know we're behind. The bank called. They're threatening us." "Oh, like you were behind during the 8 months I was paying and you weren't?" Her breath caught. Then the excuses began. "Logan's struggling. We didn't mean to." "He's been struggling for a decade," I shot back. "And you know who else struggled? Me. Busting my ass to keep your lights on while you pretended everything was fine." Then came Dad's voice, lower, measured. "Rachel, please. We just need help this month. We're on the edge of foreclosure. We could lose everything." I felt that familiar twist in my chest, the one they always pulled like a string. "Sell the house," I said. The silence was instant. Then Mom exploded in the background. "We can't sell! This is our family home!" I shrugged, even though they couldn't see it. "Sounds like a personal problem." "Be reasonable," Dad said, voice cracking just slightly. "We just need a little support. You have the means." "No," I said flatly. "What I had was trust, and you burned it." Then came the line I'd been waiting for. "You're our daughter. You will help us." I blinked, then slowly smiled. "Looks like you'll have to figure this one out without me." And I hung up. The phone didn't stop buzzing. It lit up like a Christmas tree wired to a panic attack. Texts from Mom. "We need to talk now." From Dad. "Can't believe you're doing this after everything we've done for you." Everything you've done? I typed slowly, deliberately. Funny. I was thinking the same thing. I'm not the one who stopped paying the mortgage. I'm not the one who lied. You want to talk about what kind of daughter I am? I'm the one who paid attention. And I hit send. Dad called again. This time, I picked up. "Rachel, this isn't you," he said, trying his old tone. "The one that used to work. We raised you better than this." I didn't even hesitate. "Really?" Because I remember being invisible unless a bill needed paying. I remember saving you month after month while Logan watched TV on my dime. "We're sorry," he said suddenly. It caught me off guard. "We messed up, but please, we need your help. We won't make it without you." I let that sit, let the weight of it dangle between us. "No, Dad, you need to stand. You've lived off me for too long. I'm not your backup plan anymore." "We'll pay you back," he said quickly. "We swear. Just help us this one last time. I laughed, short and sharp. I've been waiting for that payback for years. Where is it, Dad? Where's the thank you? He went quiet. Then, in a whisper, Rachel, I'm sorry. You've been more than generous. We took you for granted, but don't let us lose this house. It's everything. And finally, it hit me. They'd never seen me. Not really, only what I gave. And once I stopped giving, they panicked. Not because they loved me, but because they lost their safety net. No, I said again. But this time, it felt clean. Final. You'll figure it out, without me. And I hung up. Mom's text came in seconds later. You don't understand. You'll regret this. We need you. Don't ruin everything. I fired back. You've had time. I'm done bailing you out. Deal with your own mess. I'm not your fall girl anymore. Logan left a voicemail. I didn't answer. But I played it, out of morbid curiosity. Rachel, you messed up big. Mom's crying. Dad's freaking out. You think you're proving something, but destroying us. I swear, if you don't pay, delete. I turned off my phone. For the first time in years, the silence didn't feel threatening. It felt like peace, like breath, like I could finally exist without being mined for parts. I stretched out on my couch, flipped through the TV, and let the quiet soak into my bones. Not the kind of quiet that comes before a storm, but the kind that follows when you survive one. So here I am, free, clear, still aching, but no longer bleeding. And I've got to ask you, was I too harsh? Or was this the only way I could finally take my life back? If you felt this story, comment on 100 below and let me know what you would have done. Tell me where you're watching from. I want to know which corners of the world understand what it feels like to finally say no. And if you know someone who needs to hear this story, share it. You never know who's waiting for permission to walk away.